Hello everyone, this is China Paradigm, where we, Daxue Consulting, interview seasoned entrepreneurs in China. Hello everyone, I'm Matthieu David, the founder of Daxue Consulting and this podcast, China Paradigms. I'm today with Olivier Verot. You have been a very long time friend of mine. I think I know you since you started, and you are the co-founder of Gentleman Marketing Agency. And also, maybe it's over, but Agence Marketing Chine initially. So both in French and in English. Now I guess mainly in English. So you are doing digital propulsion, I would say. Everything which is linked to digital within China. SEO, I feel you are very strong on SEO, but also SEM, social media, and word of mouth marketing. What you say word of mouth marketing, which is certainly about KOL and influencers. Thank you very much for being with us today, because I think there is nobody better than you, I know, who is as good on SEO, SEM, leveraging the digital tools in China. Thank you very much. Was the introduction correct?
Thank you, Matthew. Your introduction is correct, yes.
Good, thank you. So, can you give us an idea of the side of your business, the different path you have, the different steps you have gone through?
So, to start from the beginning, we are an agency today. We have about 70 people. So last year our turnover was a little bit more than 3 million USD. Just to give you an idea about like the size of what we are now. We already
Very
have
nice size in 5 years, right?
Yeah, in 5 years. It's a 6 years actually, yes. So we are very specialized in digital marketing. We provide usually a total solutions for our clients. And basically our kind of clients, we divided in like 3, or I would like to say 4 kind of different clients. The first one, it is all the clients that wants lead generations. So it can be like service company, tourism company, or industry company. So basically they want leads. So for this kind of customer, as you mentioned, we are quite strong. I don't know much company who is doing that also. So it's about SEO, SEM, all the search problems, every problematic linked about your reputations. After, we have a second kind of customers that is basically growing. It is everything links about branding. So we provide a total solution for brands. It can be social media. It can be everything links about PR, online PR. It can be everything links about influencers. And everything links about the problematic of how to engage the consumers. We have a certain type of kind of clients. They want basically like selling channel. So it's a problem of e-commerce. So we help them to basically to drive traffic, drive quality clients to their stores. Can be Tmall stores, can be JD, can be WeChat, can be everything. And we also manage for clients a lot of platforms to help them basically to sell. And the last stuff, it's about distribution. So we help our clients to develop their distribution in China, leveraging the branding to basically let them to activate different source of like of distribution, physical distribution in China. So that's a little bit
physical as well.
Yes, so we know that for distributions, actually, we develop the distributors, a lot of distributors, and what the distributor in China is branding. They want strong brands, so potential brands. So basically, if you work on the branding, if you have a good brand, if your brand are very active on social media, it is something that the distributor in China really want to basically to get. So we have a pool of different distributors by fields, and like when the brand is quite strong, we can introduce this to this kind of like small distributor, medium, or some big one, or some agent. And after like this kind of like clients, they can basically resell their product via these distributors.
I see, and that's true that I had more in mind initially, because when we got in touch initially, you were a lot on lead generation. So the first segment, which is SEO, SEM, driving display, maybe driving traffic to your online presence. Could be your website, and because it's China, it can be your Tmall shop or your JD.com, because people don't buy on the website, the direct website, brand.com most of the time. I understand. Could we spend a bit more time on lead generation? what kind of clients need SEO and SEM, and what kind of clients don't need? Do you feel there are some clients some companies which need that, and some companies which actually will never sell through SEO and will never sell through SEM?
Exactly. So as a marketer, what you need to think about it is like if the clients will use the search engine information to search informations and to know what they want. So for example, in tourism, Baidu, it's very relevant. Basically, like when somebody want to travel somewhere, they will use search engine to search a lot of informations. So every time their clients search and use the search engine, we know that if there is search, if there is figures, it's usually useful to go on these kind of like platforms. Another example, it's for everything about industry or like you are selling machines or something like this. So the number of search can be small, but usually people they are searching for buying a new kind of like thing for their factory basically. So it's also a good way for basically for company to get leads, to get quality traffic. So this quality traffic will basically like search and like they will search, they will find different websites, they will compare different kind of suppliers, so it can be useful. Everything links up also about service industry. So for example, like somebody want to learn English, somebody want to have a lawyer in Canada, for example, somebody wants a particular kind of product and they don't find what they want, so they will search basically information and they will search potential like suppliers online. All these kind of clients, it's useful because like they can get quality traffic leads and we advise for that. For the B2C, it's a little bit more complicated because actually fewer and fewer consumers use Baidu for buying, but they will use Baidu for checking informations. So it's a little bit different. Let me give you an example, if you don't mind. A lot of consumers will basically like the day they will think about buy a new brand that they never heard about, they will check information about this brand on Baidu. So that's what we call the SEO on the brand to control.
Say again? SEO?
NTO on the brand name.
Okay.
So you are a new cosmetics brands and your name is called France Cosmetics, for example. And people before buying, they will search information to see if the brand is real, if the brand is good, what people speak about the brand, and they will use most of the time the search engine to get information about what it is. And also what people can also search and use, it is something about a new thing, something that they never have. For example, you have a lot of searching on Baidu about for example, the top lipsticks brand in the West. So they will search this kind of keywords to get more information. So Baidu is coming more for the awareness at the beginning of the search. And this is something very useful. We also do some kind of like SEO and on the platforms. So if you, for example, like search on Tmall, for example, there is also a kind of like system of like search engine to rank higher than the other one. GD basically is the same, and all the platforms also works a little bit the same, except WeChat because there is no search. But basically on the other platforms, the search optimization can also work directly via your platforms or indirectly via a KOL that we rank on this keyword and on this platform. So for example, on Internet Book, it's not the store will appear, but it will be an influencer that will speak about the name product or something like this.
Okay, Little Red Book, which is Xiaohongshu in Chinese, or Red now. I think they rebranded in Red. That's very interesting what you say. So, to summarize, travel, B2B, service like lawyers, Baidu can be game changer and create leads. But for B2C, you have to do optimization on the platform where you sell, which is Tmall, Taobao, JX.com, and you have to be present on Baidu for your reputation, or maybe for some information about yourself or the industry, but you're not going to drive massive amount of sales through Baidu. Is it correct?
It's correct, yes.
What about the platforms which help consumers to understand better a product like Zhihu? Do you see a momentum in new platforms? Baidu has been in the ecosystem, digital ecosystem for very long. But what about the new ones who are popping up like Zhihu and other platforms?
As we see, it's about actually the search market have been divided by a lot of different platforms. So, for example, like Zhihu is taking a lot of users from Baidu who want such more qualitative informations. So there are more white collars, more people that want more information. So we use them basically a lot. If you want to search information about beauty, cosmetic, fashion, a lot of people will directly search information on internet book to find informations. If the people want to search information on travels, they will also search, for example, on Mafanwo, who is basically a kind of like TripAdvisor, something like this. So the search market have been divided by different platforms, and the same for Tabar, for example. Tabar is a search for e-commerce. So people are using less and less Baidu because their results are less and less relevant. After a lot of scandals, basically the users are losing trust from these platforms, and a lot of different players come and become the platform for one kind of like specific industry. So we don't really focus on Baidu or we like to say or SEO. We focus on the users. So we study users, and after, according to the behavior of the users, we will adapt the strategy for this kind of like for the company to reach their target.
I see, but is it like learning all the time again the work of SEO? Because I feel that Baidu SEO was based on backlinks, was based on creating content, a bit similarly to Google, but it can be the same on Zhihu, cannot be the same on Taobao, cannot be the same on Mofanwo. How do you learn all the time the work of SEO? Do you reinvent yourself on SEO, or you don't have to? It's the same principles.
So, but basically, you need to understand the mechanism. So every platform, they have a kind of like system of calculations. So after you understand the system of calculations, you just adapt and basically works to rank on the proper keywords. And but basically, like the titles, these kind of like things, it's always the same. And after, like when you get this kind of like process, it's kind of like easy. It's the same as like, for example, if you understand the process of social media, whatever the platform that you go, basically it's always the same based on likes, interactions, comments. But basically, SEO, it's about search, it's about pertinence of the, and it's about the popularity of the page compared to the others.
Okay. You talked about other platforms like Mofanwo, like Zhihu. Do you have competitors of Baidu? Is Sogo or 360 real competitors of Baidu? Or you feel it's very specific, it's very niche? In terms of percentage, Baidu is taking 60-70%, if my numbers are correct.
Yes, exactly. So Baidu is taking basically all the percentage, and I don't think they are real competitors because they didn't really innovate. They just basically copy the same result of Baidu. So don't bring something new to the market. We put a lot of hope on the Saluling or so.com, but basically their result didn't bring more things. So they just copy basically the same result as Baidu, the same business model, a lot of ads, and doesn't bring anything new to the market. Sogo.com, it doesn't, it's really niche. It's not really relevant. So they add one special tool. It's about the search of WeChat that basically can, in the paper, can be very interesting because you cannot find on Baidu WeChat result basically, but it doesn't work. Very few users using that, and
I see.
I don't think WeChat or Tencent is a very such company. They are very social, so they don't develop a lot of like algorithm to be able to find informations, and maybe for political reason they don't have any. It's not strategy to do that for them.
I see.
Do you think we can build a strategy to enter the Chinese market on Bing, or even further on No. Okay, why do you don't think so? Because for a brand which is a foreign brand, or for a service which is a foreign service, like a lawyer in Canada, for instance, Chinese would not go on Bing to look for them?
No, I don't think so. Usually Chinese will not go on Bing. They will use Google most of the time. And if they don't have Google, it means that they are very Chinese and they will shut on Baidu, basically.
Okay, so is there a strategy to rank Chinese keywords on Google?
Chinese keywords on Google, no. But it will be English keywords. So they will search in English, basically.
Okay.
Chinese keywords on Google is mainly for Hong Kong, for Taiwan, or for all the Chinese people living overseas.
I see. Um, to finish on the topic of SEO and Baidu, are the principle of SEO similar to Google? On Baidu, are they similar to Google or they're different?
It used to be a little bit similar, but today there is like a very big gap. I think Baidu, I would like to say, stay like 10 years ago far away from Google. So it was like Google in 2000, I don't know, 2010 or like something like this. So they didn't put a lot of algorithm against the scam, against the black SEO. They are really focused on their own platforms, also Baidu, so they are not very open web platforms, so they rank their own platform like Baidu Biker, Baidu Jeddah, and the Baidu Tieba, and today they develop new things like Wenku, so it's basically like kind of like a PPT, a little bit like kind of SideShare, or they will develop Baitia House, so it's kind of like Baidu Media. So they try to take their users and put the Baidu platform inside of that, but it's not really relevant for users. That's why also they are losing a lot of like really good informations for their platforms and lose basically the trust of the users.
I see. I understand.
Where Google try to bring the best result for the users, really focus on users and always update their result to basically open to the new platforms, open to the platforms that really try to develop the best answers to the questions.
I'm just thinking now that some people who listen to us may not know, but Zhehu is the competitor, I mean, not the competitor, the equivalent of Quora in China, and Mofangwo would be like TripAdvisor?
Yeah, TripAdvisor, exactly.
I see. Okay, got it. So for Baidu, basically, it's, a company which is entering China cannot use Baidu in the same way they use Google. Will not be the same patterns of consumption, and the same strategy will be very, very different. So you talked about branding, and you talked about e-commerce, and finally distribution as the three other segments you are providing in your company. Could you tell us more about e-commerce in itself? So how do you drive traffic on e-commerce? How do you convert? And if you had any numbers or case studies to share with us, would be, I think, very, very useful for the audience.
So e-commerce today, it's driven basically by Chinese platforms like Tmall, GD, and the other one. And as we see as a trend today in 2019, it's really the trends of the social commerce. So people are spending a lot of time on social media, and after, like, when they're interested about something, they will buy the stuff that they want. So it's a very big trend that we see, especially for the young consumers. So Little Red Book is 100% this kind of like platform. So basically, people don't go and search a kind of like product, but they follow influencers, and this influencer will basically advise to buy this product, and this basically will drive 80% or 90% of the sales. Taobao and Tmall also try to do the same, because they have integrated a lot of like KOL on their own platforms, where they are doing live streamings. They are not only on Weibo, they are also on Taobao platforms, and they are doing a lot of like live streaming. So they are Taobao influencers, and Weibo, it's also basically links to Taobao. and the Tmall ecosystem. So it's also basically a big source of quality traffic and sales for this kind of like brands who just to have a store and to explain what they have is basically good if you have a strong need about something. But most of the sales today are bringing from the social community. So people are following brands, searching information. If they think this product is kind of like cool and nice, they will try and buy it. So it's a very good way for getting new clients to these platforms. Influencers is also a big part of that. So the KOL, especially in the beauty industry, fashion, everything links about lifestyle. Influencers are playing a big part of the e-commerce strategy. So basically, by offering product, give them money, they will speak about one brand, and they basically will make this brand or this stuff very popular. So as a marketing basically agency, we help our clients to define their good positioning, and we explain to them that today a brand is not just a product. A brand is basically a universe. It's a lifestyle, and that's how basically we can attract the right consumers. So we help them to doing that, and after we are buying basically their traffic from different platforms and measuring the quality of the traffic and the ROI and adjusting a lot of the campaign. So you're speaking about figures. For example, we have worked for Isana. It's a new brand of Rossmann. Rossmann is a kind of like a German online pharmacy, and they have launched a new brand called Isana. So we have developed.
Would you mind spelling it?
Isana, ISANA. Okay. So we have create. They are doing a lot of like ampoule or things that you put in the eyes for hydrated your eyes. This kind of like product. So we have imagined basically a campaign based on Xiaogui. Xiaogui is a very big famous influencers, a kind of Justin Bieber for young girls. So he was the ambassador of the brands, plus a lot of basically KOLs who are relaying this product.
You managed to get him.
Sorry?
You managed to get him, Xiaogui.
Yeah.
Wow.
We managed to get him, and he was basically the brand ambassador of the brand. And with a lot of different influencers, we bring some traffic. And if you want some figures for the double 11s, we drive 8 million RMB sales in one day, for example, for this.
8 million RMB, which is basically $1 million.
Yeah, a little bit more.
Was Crossborder?
It was Crossborder, exactly. It was on Tmall Global.
To give a perspective to people who are listening to us who are not familiar with China, to drive a sizable amount of traffic in cross-border is not that easy. In fact, you correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel that Tmall Global, Tmall Goji, has been advertised as a very easy way to sell to Chinese market, but I feel a lot of brands and companies have been disappointed. But you have found a way, actually, I feel, through KOL, to be able to sell cross-border products.
Exactly. So I would like to say Tmall Global, it's a very big platforms, and it's not suitable for 80% of the brands. It's only suitable for the brand that is ambitious and basically invest a lot of money on the platforms. So if the brand is enough ambitious, build a strong reputations and create a kind of like a social buzz, I would like to say it's good. But for most of the brand who expect to have the same thing as Amazon, so basically I just open a store, put my product and just wait, it will never work. So it's basically a total different ecosystem, a totally different system. And to enter to Tmall Global, you need to have a lot of preparations. You need to work on the reputation of the brand. You need to work on a lot of different things to have the right target, the right angle, the right things to go to Tmall Global. We don't advise at the beginning for the brands to enter directly on Tmall Global. And even Tmall don't advise for small brands to not come to not join to their platforms. Going to Leader Red Book, for example, is first good gap. So if you are successful in Red Book, which is basically it costs less, you can basically be ready to move to the next big gap. But on Tmall Global, you need to have an investment of like, I don't know, something between $200,000 to $500,000 a year to have something quite interesting.
Okay.
If you're under this investment, it's basically complicated.
So basically 300, let's say 300, let's say 300,000 US, it's including everything. Would include the advertising, would include your services, it would include hiring on their side, or they don't have to hire on their side, you would take care of everything. So basically starting with 200,000 US, you can really begin to sell. But besides below that, it's very difficult. It's very challenging if it's below this level. I understand. One thing about those new platforms like Xiaohongshu, Little Red Book, they don't rank on Baidu, right? They don't rank on Tmall is not ranking on Baidu, is it?
Xiaohongshu rank on Baidu.
Okay.
They rank on Baidu. They rank via the influencers. The platform rank. So Baidu takes them. And after Alibaba invest in them, Baidu delete their results. So basically, there is a big fight between this kind of like free platform about Baidu, Alibaba, and Tencent. So Leader Red Book was first invested by Tencent and after by Alibaba. And basically after that, they kind of like decrease their trust on Baidu, so less and less requests have been ranked for Leader Red Book. Which other platform you speak about?
Tmall, JD.com, are they ranking on Baidu?
So Tmall, it's kind of like the official Tmall of the brand rank. Okay. So for example, like if you search L'Oreal, for example, you will find their Tmall on Baidu. But the page doesn't rank usually. And Tmall and JD also pay a lot of money on advertising on Baidu to attract Baidu traffic to their universe page. So for example, if you're searching for, I don't know, baby formula, you will have a very high click drive by Tmall and JD to bring the traffic directly to their platforms to offer all the choice of the brand that they have.
I see. We have talked about search. You have talked about live streaming. Could you tell us more about all the possibilities of driving traffic or paying for traffic? So in the West, we have RTB, real-time bidding. We have retargeting. We have influencers, live streaming. We have search, of course, and SEM. We have social media management where we can buy like with on Facebook lookalike and other ways of targeting on Facebook, which is very precise. Could you tell us what is possible in China and what is not possible?
So you have the search traffic, like basically the SEM, that is basically mixed with the Baidu platform. So usually when you advertise on SEM, you will also get your ads on Baidu's product. So that's basically a part. You have the RTB, or I would like to say in China, it's called more the display ads that you basically buy. It can be like CPM, cost per mile, or it can be like cost per click on different kind of like platforms.
And for RTB, sorry to stop a little bit on RTB, but for RTB, you said different kinds of platforms. Does it mean Baidu is offering that, but it's not the main player?
Baidu is one of the big players, but there is a lot of different and small display basically platforms that basically are on different kind of like apps and media also in China. So every of them, they have a very different way of calculations, and it can be very old, very traditional. Some of them are like very advanced, like for example ByteDance and Toutiao or Weibo. They have copied a little bit native ad system of Facebook, so they can basically target the people by their interest. So that's very interesting for brands because if you target the people by interest, you have higher chance to basically to bring quality traffic.
Yeah, clearly.
So that's native ads basically. The influencers, of course, influencer is good because you buy the guys, but you buy also trust of the influencers. So the quality traffic of the influencers is basically better. About the retargeting is like a little bit different from what you have in the West, because in the West your retargeting is based on your own platform, right? But in China, what you can do, it's like you can put cookies on your Youku channel, for example, and if the people say the video on your Youku channel, you can retarget them based on that. So you can also do like retargeting on other platforms stuff. And but the result that we have on the retargeting is not as high as what you can get on as what you have in the West. So I think the Chinese platforms are a little bit late and not very smart as what you have in the West. So I would like to say they have like 5 years late in terms of like retargeting and display compared to today what you get, especially for Google, basically Google or Facebook, who are basically pretty smart. And after you have what you call the media buying. So media buying or display, or there is basically a big difference, because basically media buying for us, as we define as in JMA, it's more you buy on the media. So on Sina.com or Sohu.com, you buy a certain amounts of exposure in their platforms. So if the platform is famous, it costs a lot. If the platform is not very famous, it costs lower. And it's a kind of like very dirty world, because like last year, the eMarketer provide a kind of a report to explain that 60% of this traffic was fake. So
fake with forms.
Yeah, it's frauds basically. It's fake traffic. So yeah. So as a marketer, as a marketing agency, what we do, we always try to put some tracking between the landing page where we are to this kind of like robot to direct to the page to evaluate the traffic, if it is a real traffic or not a real traffic. And as we think it's not so good, and usually doesn't bring good results. So we don't advise to use a lot of kind of like a traffic like this. And to come back from your consumer, today Chinese consumer doesn't really trust on ads. So if they come and they see pop-up or ads who appear a little bit everywhere, people will basically don't click, and if they click, they doesn't really trust. So we need to work more on the organic. In the organic is like the natural search, social media, the sponsorship on social media, the buzz that you create, the influencers, all of this for us, we call it the organic. So it is more what is real, what you have in or the press release, what you have, and everything what is around, about the banner, about the click, about the flashy, people usually never buy. So we advise basically our customer to not spend too much money on these kind of platforms. And every time we make them test, we try to measure it. And if it's not working, we just delete this kind of channel.
It's very interesting because we see that because Baidu has not been very how to say trustworthy so far on some issues, people rely on the opinion of what we call KOL or other people in order to make choices. So that's why you are an advertisement neither actually.
You're right. Chinese people doesn't trust in media that much. They don't trust in government or something like this, right? So they doesn't trust in ads. A lot of cheaters. They doesn't trust in Baidu. They doesn't trust in basically anything. They relay to their friends or famous people that basically every day speak about one topic. So yes, that's a very good way to get the trust from these people to work on with this KOL or the people that they already know for a while.
I see. What about so targeting people through social media and so on. On Facebook, it has been made very, very easy to target people very precisely with very little budget. And I remember like we looked into it like 1 or 2 years ago. It was pretty expensive to do it on WeChat and any platform and the targeting was not as precise as it is on Facebook. Has it evolved, and what's the situation now if you want to start doing social media advertising? How much money you should prepare to pay?
So the budget is not as low as Facebook, but Weibo has a kind of like a similar system of bidding. We see also Totia is the same also. So their system of bidding is pretty accurate and pretty good. The problem with Totia, it's like you only have like a low class people, young people. Weibo have a little bit more about everything. On WeChat, it's not that accurate today. I don't think that advertising is the priority of WeChat today. One day it will be, but today it's not their matters. They doesn't basically put a lot of effort to have a better advertising, better system, and something more efficient for brands.
So basically, it's nothing similar, right?
But on WeChat, on Weibo, it's similar to Facebook.
Okay.
On Totia, it's similar to Facebook. They have really copy and developed the same kind of native ads as what you have on Facebook, based on interest. And Weibo and Totia, they really are able to know what you like and what you don't like, what you follow, what is your interest for a long time.
I see.
For WeChat, it's a little bit different, I think.
Could you share with us some ideas of good conversion rates or average conversion rates from the different sources of traffic? What is expected when you do SEO, when you do SEM, when you do buying displays, when you do influencer marketing? What's a good and an average one?
It's really, really different to speak about conversion rates because it really matters about the industry and the brand awareness. So I just give you an example. If you advertise for big brands like L'Oreal or Lancome, even if you put a banners, you will have conversion rate because people know the brand already. So it's kind of like easy. But if you work on the new brand, even the best channel for the conversion rate will be almost zero because the brand is new. So we identify the conversion rates. The best channel for the conversion rate, it's the own followers of the brand that you get, of course. The influencers also very good for brand.
How much can you expect in percentage? Let's say an influencer has 10,000 views on one post. What's a good conversion rate and what's an average one?
On the influencers, you have two parts because you have his view by himself. So let's take somebody who have 1 million followers. Okay, so as you say, maybe these guys will have like 50,000 people will view his post. Okay, on these 50,000 will view his post, you can maybe expect 500 people who click on the link. And on this 500 people who click on the link, usually the conversion rate can be high from 1 to 5%.
Okay.
Why it's high? Because it's already displayed on this own stuff. So you will have in one hand 50 people who buy. So you think like 50 people on 500 is already a very good ratio, but actually it's 50 people who buy from the 50,000 people that see the post. So you have two layouts. But if you take, for example, from the ads, people click on the ads, they arrive on the page. And you can have the same ratio about 50,000 people who go to the page and only 50 people will buy. So the conversion rate will be super low. But it's because there is not one place in the middle who just explain a little bit what it is. So there is two layouts.
But does it mean that basically the number of viewers of a KOL and the number of viewers of an ad lead to a similar conversion rate? Would you say so?
But it depends. So I just give you an example. You pay an influencer on Weibo about 10,000 RMB, right? And you pay 10,000 RMB on the good content, links to the store. We know that advertising Weibo with native ads has better results than the KOL. About some similar effect like this. And if you have for example, a KOL that is a brand ambassador of the brand, and you advertise to the people who like you advertise to this post, and this influencer is speaking about the brand under the brand name. So basically, this has a higher conversion rate because people, even they don't know this brand, they know this guy. For example, like the Xiaogui, the Justin Bieber, and basically because they know these guys, and then so they are ready to try. And the conversion rate is also linked to the price, basically. So if you are selling the first trial of 50 RMB, for example, you will have a very good conversion rate because 50 RMB is like nothing. But if tomorrow you advertise a cosmetic product that people need to spend 1,000 RMB to buy it, the conversion rate will be very, very low. So conversion rate is not a matter of really about one thing. It's matter about 3 or 4 things. It's matter about the reputation of the brand. It's matter about like how you attract the right people linked to the right universe, and it's better about offer, what you offer from that. So it's almost basically impossible to give figures about which industry gives this conversion rate or this conversion rate or the other one conversion rate, because everything is basically really, really, really different. The brand never have the same step, never have the same awareness. So that's something, even if you take the same KOL, the same day or similar day on two different brands, the conversion rate is basically totally different.
So you have to be very sharp on understanding segmentation and which KOL is good for which segment, and how they can influence positively and not being fake.
Of course. On the KOL, you have their exposure, so you have their number of their followers, the real followers that they get, okay, and you have also their credibility. So, for example, you can have some cosmetic girls who just make some trial all the time, and she's kind of like very famous for that. But the number of the followers that she will have will not be that much, maybe only 100,000. But she has a very good credibility, right? And the other part, you have a bimbo. She's very beautiful. She's like she has like maybe 10 times or 20 times more followers, but she has no credibility because it doesn't mean that she shows this product that the follower will trust her. They will basically trust more the people who have more credibility. So when we choose a KOL or some things, exposure and number of followers is not enough. The credibility, the time they've been there is also one factor. And what we also see, it's like the community of the followers. So how many people engage? What the quality of the followers that engage? Are these people buyers? Because you can have some kind of like Mr. Bax, for example, his number of followers is 1 million, something like this, but they are really quality followers. Why? Because these people are active buyers. They are the people in the luxury. So these people, this KOL, go to every fashion show, meet people, exchange his WeChat, his Weibo, people follow him, and he speak about luxury for a long, long time. So you have some stars who have 100 times more followers than him, doesn't mean that they have a quality of luxury buyers. So we need to think about what the target follow, what the target trust, and after based on that, we try to get the different kind of like KOLs or influencers based on basically on the target. And sometimes, as we say, we can target on a lot of micro KOL. So micro KOL is like somebody that is a real influencers, working in luxury, working in a hotel, working this, working that, and these people may have 10,000 followers, right? You may think it's not a lot, but if you want to sell a luxury bags, maybe if these people post on his Weibo, it will cost nothing, or maybe a gift. But these people, because he works in the luxury hotel for 10 years, he has met 20,000 or 30,000 potential customers.
And people added it on WeChat directly because it was easier. And customers added him directly on WeChat because it was easier to communicate with him.
Exactly, because his customer trusts this lady, because this lady is already in this luxury, and she already need to talk to these people for a long time. So it can be really smart for some companies to not only focus on the big one, but focus on a lot of small influencers and create a kind of like an undercover wave to basically to reach the good people. There is also another factor that we see with KOL or influencers is like the first time that one consumer sees a brand, they will maybe not buy. But the second time they see another friend of them try the brand, they will think about it. The third time they will think that, oh, that's actually this brand is kind of popular, it's kind of cool. And the 4 and the 5 one and the 6 one who buy it. So basically the more KOL and influencer you have in a period of time, the more the target thinks that this product is popular, and the more it's going well. I just give you an example. If we have worked for Matthieu David, is a Spanish brand, and we have done a massive KOLs operation for 2 months, and the results have been really good. I think we have tripled the sales on Tmall within 1 month, because all the influencers in cosmetic during almost 3 months speak about this. So you have 150 influencers in cosmetics. So basically everybody will speak about the brand and try the brand one by one. So people will think that, okay, I need to try these things.
Very interesting. So there is a question about intensity of the influencers in a short period of time, and once it's done, then it's about retaining and making them loyal, which is the work of the brand basically, to keep contacting the client once they have already bought the product.
Exactly. So make them loyal. It's a big topic in China. It's very hard to make a Chinese customer loyal. Or I would like to say it's depend on the type of customer. So Chinese customers are really open to try new things. It's very good for the new entry brands. And if you want to make them loyal, basically it's about a certain age or a certain kind of customer that basically don't want to try a lot of things. So let me give you an example of girls between 18 years old to maybe 30. She would like to try a lot of different brands, but after 30 years old to maybe 50, she doesn't have time to think. So she will come back to the habit. So to get a consumer which is more mature, it takes more effort, it takes more time, but they will be more loyal, basically. And a customer that is more young in their consumer, they would like to try a lot of different things, and they will never be loyal because they will be always want to try new things, and they will have time, they will have energy, they have a circle of friends which is basically the same. So they will be loyal to an offer, loyal to one thing, but not really loyal to a brand until a certain time of maturity. And after a certain age or certain maturity of consumptions, they will basically become more loyal, because basically when you get more mature, you just get used to 1, 2, or 3 products that you have. So I think it's matter of type of consumer in China, the loyalty.
You talked about it, in a way which was nearly a concept like target trust, the trust factor that those KOL can have. In some way, that refers in my mind to softwares like Moz, like SimilarWeb, like all those softwares which are helping us to do advertising and do marketing online on Google in the West. Do you have softwares which help you to do that, or it's manual?
We don't have. We have a lot of different software, which is not very good. We have software for calculate the fake click. We have a software for calculate the fraud or the people who try to burn your budget. We have a software for basically for the attack, but it's very segmented. And there is also a big kind of like advertising platform or display platform. They have developed their own software in-house. And basically by buying them, you're also buying their software for get a better and more accurate, basically, campaign.
So you are not using softwares, KOL ranking softwares, those kind of softwares.
But the problems that we have with this kind of like software, it can help, but nothing is better than human for that, we think. Because if you want to identify if the influencers provide good content, if there is real people, you really need to have very, very smart software. Today, there is a lot of KOL who are fake. 90% of the KOL in China are fake, actually.
What do you mean by fake? Do you mean that they fake the clicks?
Fake followers, fake like, fake share, fake everything. So you have some kind of like KOL in 3 months, they get 2-3 millions of followers. So if you have this software who analyze the followers, who analyze the interactions, it will be very good because everything is basically fake. And you can tell me like, okay, maybe on these 2 million followers there is some real, but maybe not even 100 or 100. So you have a lot of kind of like companies that are developing KOL by KOL by KOL, and I think this kind of company understand the software pretty well and provide a lot of fake stuff. But a human, usually a well-trained human, need to basically to check what is this KOL, when it has been created, if somebody else speak about these influencers outside of Weibo or outside of the others, or what is origin, or what is a case study, or what brand he has worked before, or like going a little bit deeper, or even like check the quality of the content, or it will be better. We have tried a lot of different kind of like software today. Not miracle. I think one software can be good is like if the brand or the users basically or the people pay the KOL can rank them, but it will be always like very complicated because if I am a brand or if we have a lot of good KOLs, we don't want to share them to the other.
Of course.
Because we know they are good, right? And the people who are the KOL who are not so good, but we can give them a high score because like we want the other use them and waste their money. So
I'm a bit surprised that we don't find software as powerful as SimilarWeb, Moz, SEMrush, Ahref in China. What's your feedback on this?
There is some, but they are not as good as them. We are using a software, I forget the name, for calculate the position on Baidu, but it's not analyze everything. There is also another one called China AZ. That's basically the number one software for SEO guys in China. So they are checking more the on-site page basically. And in the past, there is also another software developed by, I forget about the name, SEO AZ, I think, SEO AZ, yeah.
Or
so they are, it's kind SEO AZ, I think it's the name of this one. So it's a kind of like more a community of SEO guys that developing their own basically software, but it never have been really big and never have been really professional, basically commercial.
So still it's not at the same level, but still it's existing in a very different way. That's what you are saying.
Exactly. What you need to understand about the software in China also, it's like, it's not as developed as in the West, because in the West company used to pay software for decrease the cost, decrease a lot of things, but in China it's not as developed basically. So they are thinking more about hack the software or get this software by another way, or just like this. So the software industry is not really developed, and people don't have the culture to pay for a software. Yeah. So I don't know, like you pay everybody in the West pay for Word or pay for the other one. It's just kind of like habit, but in China, basically nobody pay for that. So they expect everything get free, or if it's for free, they can develop it, but it's difficult to have and even a freemium, like at the beginning you get it for free and you have different version for pay, so you can try SEMrush for free and you feel good, and after you can pay for the first version, the second version that you need to pay a set amount every month. But in China it's kind of difficult.
Talking about new new technologies in order to target the consumers. Alibaba has talked about a kind of unique ID where they can target the same person on all over the platforms. Have you heard about this technology and what's your experience with it?
Yeah, we have heard about this technology, and actually, like they do it before with Alimama. So Alimama, it's kind of the ads platforms for Alibaba. So you can target the people based on the different ecosystem of Alibaba, Youku or Weibo, or all the website links to basically to Alibaba and Taobao, of course. So they're already using that for quite a long time. So I think they rebranded, they changed a little bit, and they put it on the they explained this a little bit, but it was already explained before. It was already used. Doesn't and it brings actually quite good result for Taobao.
Okay.
So when you're on Taobao or when you're on Tmall, you have like different kind of like option for advertise. So you have the search when you advertise, you have the banners inside of the platforms, and you have the basically the targeting or retargeting, which is outside of the platforms, and basically it's operated by Alimama. And it's target the users, it's target the people when they go to the, it's target also basically the interests. So a lot of Chinese people, if they like fashion, for example, they will appear a lot of ads, display ads a little bit everywhere when they will search, and links directly to a Taobao store. So it's already exists for a couple of years.
Okay.
And I'm not surprised. It makes sense actually. It makes sense to cross all the different platforms of Alibaba and to have a kind of like a new product. I've heard about this from Alibaba, and it's called Uni Marketing, something like this. So they are trying to broadcast.
It's an acronym, yeah. It's an acronym like UM something, UMI something. It's an acronym.
Uni Marketing, something like this. So yes, that's what they try to do. They try to do a little bit I think there is a big opportunity for this kind of platform to really do something good. For us as a marketer with kind of experience, we always wait a little bit. We let them try, see what is the result, yes or no, because a lot of platforms has basically these ideas, and we know that the people who are the first who try basically is like they will fail, and there are a lot of like waste. So until it works, we will advise this to our clients. Until not, we don't basically take risk.
You have talked about the new platform Daxue, but you have not talked about Douyin.
Totia is Douyin. It's ByteDance, the same group.
Yeah, it's the same company, but Douyin is focusing on video, Daxue is focusing on content, as far as I understand.
Yes, exactly.
So you talked about that. Actually, that's the thing which is even more interesting. You mentioned Daxue, but you didn't mention Douyin, which is within the same company, and which is actually the app that everyone is talking about. Moreover, because it's big in the West with TikTok as well. But so it seems that it's difficult to leverage in terms of marketing. What's your experience with it?
So, as we know, for every platforms, there is a kind of like the launch, after the increase, and after there is a maturity. And during the maturity, the platforms start to monetize and give opportunity for the brands to advertise on it. And today, Douyin, it's increasing very fast without making money, without opportunity for brands to pay, or the ticket is basically very high and not very effective. So it was a platform for influencers. So basically a little bit like YouTube or the other, you pay the guys for the influencers, these kind of things, but the system, the metric to click, the system to link to another one was really not developed. I believe personally in these platforms because I think there is a lot of users and it's basically really interesting. And recently they put a kind of like they put some links to their Taobao stores, they put some link to outside, so it's a little bit better. But the system of bidding, the system of everything is not mature now. But I believe it will be in the future because they belong to Totia, so by the same group, so they just need to duplicate this system and do it. But today they are focused on attracting more influencers to platform and make it not as commercial. In the platform, you need to understand that to expand, you don't need to be very commercial. If you're very commercial, users are leaving. So they need to attract the early adopters. They need to attract all the people that are creating amazing content on the platforms. They basically need to keep them. They need to create to attract all the other people who will follow them. It will increasing, and after one moment, they have their peak. So they will try to monetize their traffic, these people. And when they monetize, when the brand need to pay, when you have more basically ads, a lot of users will leaving the platform and will go to another platforms and basically will become more mature. And when you become more mature, it's an opportunity for the brand to advertise, and the system for advertising bidding will be okay. So the early stage of a platform is not that good for brands to go there. You need to have a time when the platform decided to become commercial, like Little Red Book. Little Red Book for 2-3 years, it was so-so, and until last year, they opened the e-commerce part. So when they opened the e-commerce part, it was a good time to advertise.
Yeah, I feel that's very common. WeChat has been very expensive to do advertising on for a long time, certainly because they didn't want to develop the advertising part. Still expensive, and I believe you have the same experience with Douyin. Thank you very much, Olivier. That's very instructive. And when we began, you asked me if how long it should last, and I told you between 30 minutes and 1 hour. And we are, I think, very, very close to 1 hour, even exceeding 1 hour. I don't want to take too much of your time on a Sunday. Thank you very much. Maybe there is something you'd like to add?
No. Thank you, Matthieu, for interviewing me, and I wish you a great Sunday.
You too. Thank you very much, Olivier. Goodbye to everyone.
Bye.